Welcome Stripe's President of Product and Business, Will Gabrick.
Good morning, and welcome to day 2 of Stripe Sessions. So this is one of the largest gatherings of ambitious company builders anywhere in the world, and we are so excited to be here with all of you this week. So Patrick mentioned yesterday that Stripe is building programmable financial services. And each year at Sessions, we aim to show you just how much we're shipping and how quickly we're moving on your behalf. And you'll see, we shipped a truckload of new products and features since we were all here last year, including this year some foundational changes to how Stripe works and what it can do for all of you. 18 years ago, right here at Moscone, the world met the iPhone. And this catalyzed a fundamental platform shift on the internet. Well, today, we're on the precipice of not one, but 2 platform shifts, each larger than the move to mobile. These are the twin revolutions in intelligence and money. You know, AI, of course, is already transforming how we work and live, and stablecoins are the first truly global, actually usable, fully programmable money we've ever had. So individually, they call for us to make sweeping changes to how we operate, and together, they represent the biggest tailwinds to business growth in a generation. So that's why we're all here. Our job is to put these frontier technologies to work for all of you, and not on some vague, distant point on the horizon, but right now. And we're going to show you this morning exactly how we can do that. And along the way, we'll touch on 2 other broad themes: how the scale of the Stripe network, which now moves over $1.4 trillion a year, can directly benefit you in a bunch of ways, and how Stripe itself is becoming extensible and programmable, flexing to meet your specific needs. But before we get to everything we've been working on over the last year, I thought it'd be fun to give you a sneak peek at something we've been working on only over the last few weeks, specifically helping you all access a new category of buyer on the internet, AI agents. So LLMs are phenomenal at getting you to the point of purchase, but they're not built to navigate complex checkout forms, securely store payment credentials, handle payment authentication, and so on. Well, today, we're beginning to solve that with a brand new API that lets anyone create a commerce agent in just a few seconds. We call it order intents. Let's take a look. OK, we'll start first with a simple use case. So Dwarkesh was here last night. Let's pre-order his book. And I want to show you exactly how order intents works, and that's easiest to do from the command line. So here we are. And the first thing I'm going to do is just create an order intent and point it here at the URL of the thing I want to buy, in this case, press.stripe.com/scaling. So let's run that. And the first thing the order intents agent did is it went off to the website and it sort of deeply understood it. Are there product variants? Do discounts apply? What are the shipping rates? Any new tariffs since, whatever, 7 a.m.? And now the agent has come back, nothing that interesting, and it's actually ready to go make the order. So I'm just going to copy this order ID over this long string, and I'm going to confirm the transaction. There we go. Just going to put it right in there. All right, let's run this. And now, for the purposes of this demo, we're actually going to visualize the agent at work. So you're going to see it right here. Fire up Stripe Press. There it is. It's going to quickly add the book to cart. And now it should, in a moment, navigate over to checkout. Here it is. It's going to start filling out the forms. Look, no hands, agent at work. In just a second, there's Stripe's office, typing in a credit card number. It's actually not my credit card, so no point in taking a picture. And there we go. We just bought a book from the command line. And I've done that demo enough times that Dwarkesh is feeling very good about his pre-orders. OK, but that might feel a little impractical unless you're like me and you're actually kind of excited about the idea of Christmas shopping via API. So let's kick this up a notch and make it a bit more realistic. So here we've got our demo site, Glow Guide, and it reviews skincare products. And I just turned 40, so I'm getting a bit more serious about skincare. And I'm reading about these products. Here you can see them. These are real products. So this one right here is being sold by moodysisters.com, a mineral wash. Here you've got a moisturizer and an SPF 50 sunscreen. Now, normally if I wanted to buy these, I'd have to click on each link, go navigate a third-party site, fill out a bunch of forms. If I actually bought them, maybe GlowGuide would get some affiliate fees on the other end, because they referred me. But with order intents, we can do better on both sides of the transaction. So let's see. As I scroll down, you can see that GlowGuide gives me the opportunity to buy the recommended products directly on the page. It looks like GlowGuide uses a link here, so it's got my payment credentials. But now, before I hit order, I just want to emphasize that we're about to see an autonomous agent making real purchases across the public internet. So in short, this is exactly the type of demo that you're not supposed to do right at the beginning of a keynote. So fingers crossed, and let's see how it goes. Now click order here. All right. OK, so for some reason, the text didn't come through. But what has happened in the background is that the agent has gone off to 3 sites and has done exactly what it did with Stripe Press. It sort of deeply understood them. And still not getting the text here. Again, live demo. All right, so let's just cut to a recording of this that we did last night, just to show that it works. You can see it's real, right? OK, so here we go. You actually see the agent at work. I'm pretty good at multitasking, but this is sort of another level. It's slogging through all of the forms. And so the question is, sort of, why is this better than the status quo? Well, affiliate commerce is really suboptimal for merchants because, it's hard to get credit for the purchases you create. And for consumers, you're bouncing around the internet doing all the things that the agent is doing for me right now. So the holy grail has always been in situ commerce. Can you bring purchase experiences directly into the page that you're on? And we've got the agent is done with 2 sites. We've got 1 more coming. I actually know it's going to work. It's a video. Come on, buddy. Almost there. Believe in you. And it's getting tired. There we go. OK, so we just made 3 purchases across 3 different sites without ever leaving a blog. And the easiest part of the demo is the one that failed. So sorry about that. OK, but that's just one application of order intents. And John mentioned yesterday that some of the major AI applications, like Perplexity and ChatGPT, are exploring agentic commerce. Well, the reason that we built order intents is that we're very excited about what you all can build by embedding agentic commerce directly into your applications. So we have this new primitive to just go create an agent to go buy a thing. If you run an e-commerce site, you can upsell third-party products directly from your checkout. If you build a productivity app, you can make a task on a to-do list shoppable in just a click. And really, whatever else you can dream of when you can buy anything on the entire internet with an agent and a link. Now, agentic commerce is such a massive opportunity that we won't be going it alone. So I'm excited to share that Stripe and Visa are partnering on this. Visa announced a new spec for agentic cards just a few days ago, and Stripe is their exclusive launch partner for payments. So agents are going to reduce friction and increase the velocity of money on the internet. That means more commerce, and it means, as we just saw, new commercial models. And Stripe has a history of catalyzing new commercial models. It's been 15 years since we launched the world's first ever self-serve API for accepting payments online, turbocharging the already explosive growth of the internet. Just a couple of years later, we launched Stripe Connect, sparking a boom in marketplace and platform business models. And 7 years ago, we launched Stripe Billing, the cornerstone of our revenue suite, helping recurring revenue businesses, and notably now today, usage-based businesses, program their core revenue logic. So today, we're going to walk through these 3 areas: payments, revenue, and connect. And then we've got something very big to introduce at the end. So for real, stay tuned. And let's dive in, starting with payments. And of course, we'll start at the beginning of any payments journey, the checkout page. And for decades, conventional wisdom has been, if you're serious about your checkout page, you have to build it yourself. Well, that always seemed really inefficient to us, and that's why we built our optimized checkout suite. It includes a set of brandable, embeddable payment surfaces, instant access to over 100 global payment methods and hundreds of optimizations, things like local currency presentment, CVC hints, language localization, and a whole lot more to boost your conversion. Well, today, enterprises like Atlassian, Ford, Figma, River Island, URBN, and tons more all leverage our embedded payment surfaces to create fully branded and customized checkout pages. We announced recently, actually Patrick mentioned yesterday, that now more than half of the Fortune 100 are using Stripe. Well, a stat that is maybe even more amazing, or at least to me, is that 73% of all global enterprises that go live on Stripe now do so on top of our optimized checkout suite. And the companies that will move the fastest of all, well, they just outsource the entire thing to Stripe Checkout, our fully hosted payments page. And this includes really all of the leading AI companies. So empirically, conventional wisdom has changed. The question is then, why are all these companies, from global enterprises to AI startups, turning to our optimized checkout suite? Well, they're getting the benefit of hundreds of Stripe engineers working relentlessly to improve their conversion. And indeed, OCS just keeps getting better and more powerful. In the last year, we added support for 25 additional payment methods. That was on top of over 100 that we supported at Sessions last year. And you can turn on any of them with a single click in the dashboard. One where we're seeing really interesting and notable growth is actually stablecoin payments. And that might sound surprising because historically, crypto payments haven't worked so well. But that's changing with stablecoins. When you step back and think about it, stablecoins are really just the ultimate RTP. They're fast, they're cheap, but unlike other RTPs, they're global. And businesses on Stripe that accept stablecoin payments sell into twice as many countries, and they see 3 times higher average order values on stablecoin transactions. So especially if you run a global business, stablecoin payments may be a powerful growth opportunity for you. Now, in addition to putting a ton of payment methods at your fingertips, OCS uses AI to render precisely the right payment method for each transaction based on more than 100 real-time signals. And we're adding new signals every week. So on top of all of its other optimizations, with OCS, you get a continuously improving AI-powered optimization on top of a continuously growing set of payment methods. And all of this ladders up to your revenue growth. In fact, in our ongoing holdback, businesses on average saw their revenue increase by 11.9% when they moved to OCS. So 11.9% just from moving to OCS. Now, a year ago, I stood right here hoping I could get just a few of you to laugh at my jokes. And that was a joke, so I'm still failing. And I announced that Stripe was making a fundamental architectural commitment to an open ecosystem. Stripe would become a fully modular platform, allowing you to use all of Stripe's services, billing, tax, radar, the optimized checkout suite, and dozens more, no matter who processed the payment. But using Stripe with another PSP shouldn't just be possible. It should be a first-class experience itself, a powerful lever for all of you. So today, we're taking things one step further. We're announcing Stripe Orchestration, a new product to manage multiple payments providers and optimize their performance directly inside Stripe. And you all have been asking for help on this front for years. Like billing, so many companies start by building their own version of this. But it's a huge problem domain, and it sucks up resources and slows you down. So this kind of undifferentiated heavy lifting is right in our wheelhouse. We want to take problems like this off your plates so that you can move faster. And by looking across our network, we can help you discover optimizations that may be hard for any one company to identify. So let's take a look at orchestration, and to show you how it works, here's Bharath.
So here I am with the transactions page in the Stripe dashboard. And as you can see, I'm seeing a bunch of Stripe payments coming through. Now, from within the Payments tab, I can turn on Payments Orchestration. With Stripe Orchestration, I'm going to be able to add a new payments processor in just a few clicks. This visual builder is going to trigger whenever new card payments come in, and I'm going to add some conditions. So I can route based on all sorts of factors, maybe the issuer or the amount, But for now, let's route all United Kingdom credit card transactions, card type, and let's have all of those go to WorldPay. And then for the remainder, we'll continue to route the rest of the card payments through Stripe. Great. I'll hit done, give a name for my rule, and hit activate. All right, now for the moment of truth. Let's go see some transactions, shall we? When we go back to the transactions page, we hit refresh. Sure enough, there we go. We are now seeing these British credit card transactions routed to WorldPay, just like we configured. Now, I want to pause here for just a second, because with a few clicks in the dashboard and no new code, Stripe is now running payments for you across processors. And best of all, your customers can still get all the benefits of the optimized checkout suite, no matter who is processing the payment. With Stripe Orchestration, you also get powerful analytics out of the box. So fast forwarding a few months, for example, you'd be able to see how your payments are split and how they're performing across processors right in the dashboard. You can drill down by currency or card brand and more, and then feed those insights back into your multi-processor setup.
So with orchestration, we're deepening our commitment to an open ecosystem. Our goal is to make it easier for you all to manage and optimize multi-processor environments. And we're taking this very, very seriously. So to be clear, you can use orchestration even if you don't process payments with Stripe at all. Now, to share a bit more about what we've been up to in payments, I'll pass things over to Stripe's head of payments, John Afaki.
Thank you, Will, and good morning, everybody. Let's talk about Terminal, our in-person payments product. 6 years ago, I joined Stripe specifically to lead Terminal. And at that point, we supported in-person payments in just the US. And there were about 10,000 Terminal readers active. Now, Terminal's in 24 countries. There are over 1 million devices in the wild, and even more in captivity. And on the way, we even acquired a hardware manufacturing company to produce our own readers. But up until today, you could leverage Terminal's SDK and fleet management tools and deploy on-reader applications on Stripe's first-party devices only. But today, I'm excited to announce that you can now use Terminal with third-party hardware, unlocking brand new form factors. And we're starting with Verifone. There will be a lot more devices and partners to come. Now, reinforcing our commitment to an open ecosystem, through our partnership with FreedomPay, you can access over 1,000 point-of-sale systems, hardware providers, and enable in-person payments from Stripe alongside other PSPs. All right, let's talk about Link, Stripe's consumer payments product. It was built on the premise that if Stripe had even a very thin relationship with consumers, we could create novel payment experiences that increase your revenue and decrease your costs. And its growth has been meteoric. Link dramatically increases card conversions because your customers don't have to go find their wallets and enter a 16-digit number. It also reduces your costs. With instant bank payments directly built into Link, you can get bank debits that convert exactly like cards. And now everyone is adding their bank accounts to Link. In the last year, the number of network bank accounts has more than tripled. We've also heard from you what a priority buy now, pay later payment methods are. Then they can increase your conversion points by percentage points. And ironically, they're also relatively high friction, particularly for first-time users. So we asked ourselves, how could we use Link to build the most frictionless buy now, pay later experience? And for that, we teamed up with Klarna. Today, we're announcing that this summer, Klarna will be available in just one click on Link. Link can pre-fill your customers' details, so even if they've never used Klarna before, they can now do so in seconds. And if you accept Link, you can accept Klarna with zero integration work. We're starting with Klarna, but we'll be adding more partners of all types, because that's the power of Link. All of you reaping the benefits of Link accounts created anywhere on the internet. Okay, I've got one more brand new thing to share. For years, one of your top requests has been adding to support for expanding internationally. In particular, you asked for a merchant of record solution, so you got it. I'm absolutely thrilled to announce the launch of Stripe Managed Payments, our new merchant of record offering. And it's coming later this summer, and we're starting with digital goods. When you turn it on, whether you're a brand new startup or a 50-year-old enterprise looking to expand, Stripe can take care of your payments, global taxes, fraud prevention, fulfillment, dispute management, and more. Basically everything that you need in order to launch and enter new markets. Even if you don't have a local entity, you just click and go. And now for some new foundational ways that we're putting AI to work for you, here's Emily.
Will talked earlier about our optimized checkout suite, which takes care of everything right up to the moment your customer hits buy. Once that happens, our Payments Intelligence Suite kicks in to give each payment the highest chance of success. We've shipped a ton of updates, but today we'll focus on 3 big ones where AI is delivering wins for all of you. First, for authorization. Today we're announcing Authorization Boost. It uses AI to update cards and tokens, route transactions across networks, and determine when and how to retry those failed payments. As you may have guessed from the name, it boosts your auth rates by 2.2% on average. Second, for fraud. Stripe Radar is our fraud prevention product. Today, we're expanding Radar to cover ACH and SEPA with new specialized AI models. Users like Zoom are already benefiting, with ACH fraud down 20% and SEPA fraud down 42%. Last year, we opened up Radar, so you could block fraud even on transactions processed on other providers. And just like that, DoorDash saw a 10% reduction in chargeback costs. Plus, the performance of Radar keeps getting better. While industry-wide e-commerce fraud is up, Radar users are actually seeing dispute rates continue to fall. And finally, those disputes. Disputes cost businesses $55 billion annually. And that dollar figure doesn't even account for the time that it takes you to figure out which ones to challenge and then put together a, say, 12-page evidence packet like this for every single one. So today, we're launching Smart Disputes. It's an AI tool that selects which disputes to fight and then handles the fight for you, compiling the evidence on your behalf. And we're putting skin in the game here. If we counter a dispute that you lose, we'll cover the cost to fight it. With Smart Disputes, early adopters like Vimeo and Squarespace have recovered 13% more chargebacks. So those are 3 new ways we're using AI for you. But we're now entering the next chapter. Every minute, Stripe's AI learns from 50,000 new transactions. Until now, we fed this data into specialized models. So one for auth, another for fraud, yet another for disputes. But recent breakthroughs in AI have repeatedly shown that generalized models outperform, especially in data-rich domains. So today, we're announcing the Stripe Payments Foundation Model, the world's first foundation model built for payments. Just as LLMs understand language, our model understands payments. It's trained on tens of billions of transactions and uses self-supervised learning to generate nuanced representations of every charge. These representations capture not just the obvious things like the bank or the zip code, but hundreds of subtle signals that no human, or previous model for that matter, could track on their own. Now, I know maybe not everyone here gets as jazzed as I do about foundation models, but what I can tell you is the early results were way beyond what we expected. Take card testing attacks, which have surged across industry in recent years. At Stripe, we've invested a lot to fight card testing, engineering new features and labeling emerging patterns and rapidly retraining our models. And step by step, over the last 2 years, we've reduced card testing for users on Stripe by 80%. But there was a particularly sophisticated and important slice of card testing that couldn't be beat with traditional methods. novel attack types that fraudsters sprinkle across the volumes of the world's biggest companies. We deployed our payments foundation model. By classifying sequences of embeddings, our detection rate for attacks on large users jumped from 59% to 97% overnight. This is a step change in performance. Previously, we couldn't take full advantage of our vast data. Now we can. And we'll be rolling out the Payments Foundation model across our payment suite to unlock new gains in auth, in fraud, in disputes, and more for all of you. OpenAI, NVIDIA, Shopify, and over half of the Fortune 100 trust Stripe with their payments because we bring the future to you. Now, to talk about how Stripe is supporting the leading AI companies today, I'm excited to welcome Kevin Weil from OpenAI and Will back to the stage.
So Kevin, you've done a lot of on-stage demos. Do you want to, and you care about agents, you want to know what happened over there?
Yeah, what happened?
Our SMS provider had an outage. So the agents all worked.
In the 30 seconds that you were doing your demo?
I just don't want agents to have a bad name.
Because having done a lot of live demos with software, I think you did it pretty well.
Appreciate it. Played it off. So for anyone who doesn't know Kevin, he has a pretty incredible background. Twitter, running Instagram, Libra, so you're hitting those stable coins, then shooting rockets into space at Planet Labs.
Satellites.
Satellites, sorry.
With rockets.
Carried
though.
by rockets. And now Chief Product Officer at OpenAI.
Yep.
And you've been there now for 11 months, which I think in normal person years is like 35, 40 years. How's it been?
It's been fantastic. I mean, I thought I had seen scale before. I thought I had seen companies move quickly before. I thought I had seen growth before. And I mean, OpenAI has been incredible from that front. But it's also, it's incredibly motivating because how many people use ChatGPT? Like, that's super cool. It's a 2-year-old product. And so seeing the ways that people use the product, seeing all your businesses adopt the product, just makes you excited to come to work every day.
Yeah. Well, yesterday Patrick showed sort of the square wave adoption of AI by consumers. I'm curious, how do you think about deployment of AI generally? Like, where are we in the adoption curve?
Yeah. So we're in San Francisco. How many people have ridden in a Waymo? Okay. Not as many hands. You have to go do it. Here was my experience when I was in my first Waymo. The first 10 seconds of the ride, you're gripping whatever you can hold on to, and you're like, oh my God, watch out for that bicycle. And then after a couple minutes, your blood pressure comes down, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the future. There is a robot driving me around San Francisco. And then 10 minutes later, you're scrolling your phone, checking your Slacks, you're totally bored. This thing that blew your mind 10 minutes ago has now just become a part of your life. And I think that's an analogy for how AI kind of operates. We're incredibly adaptable as humans. OpenAI, ChatGPT is 2 years old, and there are now 500 million people using it every week. So 7% of the planet using it in the last 7 days. And that's amazing. And I still think we're not sort of keeping up. There's still, the technology is evolving super quickly. And if I had one piece of advice for everybody, it's just use it. Use it every day, get to know it, because it's evolving incredibly quickly. It can do a lot for you, but it can't do much for you if it's sitting on the shelf. So I think we're adapting very quickly, and we still need to keep working at it to keep up because it's going so fast.
So you have a lot of public sector experience, and one of the topics that comes up is how do our institutions, all of our companies, the legal world, public sector, sort of get comfortable relying on AI, and just what's your framework for that?
Yeah, actually, it's a lot the same, to be honest. It's just use the tools, whether it's ours or anybody else's. Use the tools. And you don't get fit by reading about going to the gym. You're not going to understand AI by reading about it or hearing about it from other people. Just use it. And very quickly, it goes from this thing that when you read about it, you might get 100 different impressions, and then you use it, and you're like, oh, this is helpful. I can see how I would use more of this. And then you start to understand, the newer stuff, the deep research products, the agents, the operators. So that's and that's especially important if you're an elected official thinking about making laws. For users and for businesses, the number one thing we think about is giving people control. This is a tool. It should help you. It should help you get more things done. It should help you think better. It shouldn't tell you how to think. It should help you get whatever you're trying to do done. And so we think a lot about control, especially with agents. As agents take on more parts of our lives, we want to make sure that whenever they're going to do an action in the world, you have control. They come back to you and they say, I'm about to do this. Is that cool? Especially important in the world of payments and other things that we're getting into. But putting control in the hands of people and then allowing you to say, how much sort of rope you want to give these agents, which will increase over time as they get better and people get more comfortable. But that's your choice.
Well, on that note of how it fits into payments and commerce, I think a lot of people here are very interested in that. What's your current thinking at OpenAI?
Well, I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a big part of all of our lives, and it's one of the places where all the work that you all have put into building, making payments programmable, I think is going to become really valuable, because you're going to want to give agents the ability to go purchase things on your behalf. Of course you are. It's inevitable. But you also are going to want control, especially in the early days when the technology is relatively new. So you're going to want to be able to say, yes, this agent I want this agent to go buy this thing for me, but I only want it to spend up to $50, and it can only do so if it's buying something at a grocery store. And I don't need to care which one, but that class of things. Now, I'm a crypto nerd. I'm hoping that this is an opportunity for some of the programmability that you get with blockchains and smart contracts. But whether it's that or the traditional route, programmability is going to be really important. And I feel like it's you guys have been doing this work for years, and now the technologies are coming together in a beautiful way.
We're bringing the revolutions together. It's always a recipe for success.
That's right.
No, we're really excited about it too. Last question. Heard you on Lenny's podcast recently. You were talking about a particular application of AI you were very excited about, which was personalized tutoring. Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that.
So one of the things that we are really excited about at OpenAI, just in general, is AI's ability to advance fundamental science and improve the human condition broadly. Because you can think about all the productivity and efficiency things, and they're all really important. And then you think about, what would it be like if we advance fundamental science, if physics and material science and biology were moving faster as a result of AI, and not just 10% faster, 2x, 5x, 10x faster. The world would be a different place. Same thing with education. Every study that I've ever seen says that when you combine traditional learning with a personalized tutor, the results are like standard deviations different. And I want to see that. I don't know why we don't live in a world yet today where all of our kids have a personalized AI tutor. So I'm excited for that world to exist. I think very clearly it will, and maybe somebody in this room is going to build it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, and we're so happy to be your partners.
So are we. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin. So we've covered a lot already this morning. We're just getting started. In our payment suite, orchestrating multiple PSPs just got a whole lot simpler with Stripe orchestration. We're bringing one-click Klarna to Link. We're launching the world's first foundation model for payments, and more. Now, to talk about how Stripe's revenue suite increases your commercial agility, here's Vivek.
Thanks, Will. I have to say, I think your skin looks great. But you do my performance reviews, so believe what you want. Now, AI isn't just changing payments, it's changing your products and how you monetize them. Every week, we see more of you launch new AI-powered offerings and move fast. You need a revenue stack that doesn't just keep up, but accelerates you. That's why over 300,000 businesses rely on Stripe Billing, including leading AI companies like Cursor, Windsurf, Lovable, Perplexity, OpenAI, Anthropic, Decagon, 11 Labs, Midjourney, and now NVIDIA, which migrated their entire subscriber base to Stripe Billing in 6 weeks. It's one of the fastest, it's one of the fastest migrations of this scale we've ever seen. And it shows what's possible with Stripe Billing. Billing was named a leader by Gartner and Forrester this past year. And it sits at the heart of our revenue suite, alongside tax, invoicing, and more. Today, we're unveiling the biggest updates to our revenue suite yet, and 2 new extensibility primitives that will turn Stripe into a programmable revenue engine for all of you. Let's dive in. Last year, we launched usage-based billing. You can ingest up to 100,000 events per second, monetize based on real-time usage, and integrate everything with the rest of the revenue suite. Some of you have gone even further, charging based on real business outcomes. Intercom, for example, charges based on how many support cases their AI resolves. Others are blending subscriptions and usage, creating hybrid models. But as your AI products take off, there's one challenge we hear again and again. You want customers to get started fast, so you offer some free usage and make payment details optional at sign-up. You don't know if they'll reach that usage limit in 10 days or 10 months. And when they do hit it, you're stuck between 2 bad choices. Keep the service running and risk not getting paid, or pause access and frustrate your customers. What you really need is real-time usage tracking and real-time billing. Starting today, that's possible with the first new primitive we're announcing. It's called Workflows. Workflows is a visual builder that lets you program Stripe without writing a single line of code. You saw it in action earlier today with Stripe orchestration. With Workflows, you can create multi-step flows that orchestrate across Stripe products using your data, Stripe's APIs, and conditional logic. Trigger actions from events like a usage alert in Stripe Billing, and automatically kick off everything from invoicing to credit provisioning. Let's take a look.
With Stripe Billing, you can set alerts to know the moment your customers hit their usage limits. So here we are on the Billing Alerts page in the Stripe dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and create a new alert. We'll name it something very obvious, free usage threshold, pick a meter, and I'm basically going to say that after 500 free tokens, this alert should fire. Done. Great. Now here's one of my customers, Hiroki. When Hiroki signed up, they gave us their payment details, so they got their 500 free tokens. But when they hit their limit, you'd still have to pull up their info, loop in sales, and then create an invoice for them with just the right billing terms, or wait for the customer to reach out after their service is paused. But now, you can automate that whole process with Workflows. Let me show you how. So here's a workflow I've pre-created. It gets triggered the moment that billing alert triggers. It then retrieves and loads that customer, and then checks whether the customer has a payment method already active. If so, it automatically generates the invoice, charges your customer, and sets a subscription. That's it. So let's go ahead and hit Activate, and let's simulate some usage from Hiroki to see it all come together live.
So while that's running in the background, I want to call out that you can build workflows however you want. The Stripe API has hundreds of events, and any of these can trigger a workflow with an arbitrary number of steps. So these are incredibly powerful for tailoring Stripe's logic to your business needs.
Exactly. And now let's check back in on Hiroki, who's loved our product so much, he's already hit his free usage limit. Sure enough, we go back to their page. Looks like the usage alert fired, the workflow triggered, and we automatically created a subscription with a charge to their total usage. There was no disruption for Hiroki, and you stayed ahead on billing with no delays.
So you just saw workflows in the context of Stripe Billing, but you can use them across all of Stripe. You can use them to handle things like automatically flagging large disputes or customizing how customer accounts are managed. They make it easy to set up how Stripe products work together. More importantly, they let you offload logic you used to build yourself, so Stripe handles more of the work for you. But that brings up a bigger question. What if you want to change how Stripe itself works? Because no matter how fast we ship, there's always logic that's unique to your business. Whenever you wanted something new, you had to build custom logic from scratch, or wait for us to add the exact feature you need. We don't think you should have to choose. So today, we're introducing the second new primitive, Stripe Scripts, a new way to customize and extend your logic right inside Stripe. Let's take a look at how you can use scripts to change how billing behaves down to the core engine.
So let's take discounting for an example. Now, there are countless ways that you can offer discounts. And each of you have your own preferences, how to structure them, when to offer them, who gets them, and when it's time to change up the terms. Now, with Stripe scripts, defining the exact logic you want is easy. Say, for example, you wanted to offer volume-based discounts. You don't have to start from scratch. Stripe has a library of templates that you can choose from. Here's one of them. Now watch how simple this is. I'm going to add some code to compute my discount amount. So for example, I'm going to say that over 100 tokens gets you a 10% discount, and over 200 tokens gets you a 20% discount. Now watch closely. I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and then I'm going to deploy that code into Stripe. And that's it. Stripe is now hosting and running the code that I wrote. But let's see it in action. Let's go to a new checkout flow to see what things might look like for a new customer. This time, if they change their amount and buy 150 tokens instead, sure enough, they're getting 10% off. Now, of course, you could have built this discount in so many different ways, and soon you'll be able to customize every single part of Stripe billing with scripts, from how proration works, to how invoicing works, to pricing, and much, much more.
This is the first time you've been able to change how Stripe actually works. Not with webhooks, not with middleware, inside Stripe. Like workflows, scripts work across all of Stripe too. If workflows define how Stripe products work together, then scripts let you change how Stripe works under the hood. Scripts and workflows are the most powerful extensibility primitives we've ever shipped. Together, they make Stripe a programmable and extensible revenue engine, so you can grow faster your way. But being your revenue engine isn't just about bringing revenue in. It's also about helping you manage it too. And as you grow, so do the complexities, especially around tax. That's where Stripe Tax comes in. It is now available in 102 countries, up from 57 last year. That's a ton of new customers you can now reach faster with Stripe Tax. And today, we're introducing one of your most requested features, global tax registration and filing. That's right, the people have spoken. That's right. And obviously, nothing gets you guys more excited than regulatory compliance. Stripe Tax now covers the entire tax cycle, from monitoring and registering to collecting and filing. So I love tax too. So you can grow faster and stay compliant. And of course, this is just some of what's new. We've launched a lot of new features across the Revenue Suite over the past year. So to wrap up, you can easily run complex usage-based models with Stripe Billing. With scripts and workflows, Stripe is your programmable revenue engine. And tax compliance is now easy in 102 countries with Stripe Tax. That's what we've been up to in our Revenue Suite. Now, to talk about how we are helping platforms grow with Connect, here's Nitika.
In the last decade, SaaS platforms in every corner of the economy have turned to Stripe Connect to offer financial services to their users. Whether that's Substack for writers and creators, Brightfield for daycare providers, or Clio for lawyers. Even businesses you don't think of as platforms are getting in on the act, like Spotify, which is using Stripe Connect to help podcasters get paid for monthly subscriptions, or the PGA, which is using it to help golfers find certified coaches. Clearly, the cat's out of the bag. Platforms are a really good business. Last year, Stripe grew to over 15,000 platforms supporting more than 10 million businesses. And 84 of these platforms each processed over $1 billion in payments. So where's the catch? Turns out it's incredibly hard to run a platform at scale. As platforms grow from having dozens of accounts to thousands, they require an increasingly sophisticated set of tools. Well, Stripe's long been in the business of building the best tools for platforms. So today, we're going to share some major upgrades. First, we're going to show you how we are leveraging Stripe Scale to help platforms onboard new users. Next, we're going to introduce some brand new products designed to help platforms with their day-to-day operations. And finally, we'll share some exciting additions to our embedded finance products that will benefit platforms as well as many other businesses. So let's start with onboarding. We've discovered something big. 1 in 6 users signing up for a platform already has another account on Stripe. So a few months ago, we quietly launched networked onboarding. Now, businesses who already have an account on Stripe can sign up for a platform in just a few clicks and start accepting payments on the same day. It's one great example of how Stripe's size and scale is directly benefiting your business. So now, what about running the business? We know platforms are juggling a lot. You need clear metrics about how your platform is performing, how your users are doing. You have to resolve customer issues, deal with ever-shifting compliance requirements, defend against fraud, and so much more. So today, I'm excited to announce the new Stripe dashboard for platforms, an intelligent command center that combines rich insights with powerful tools. Let's take a look. Bharat.
So right away, I can see the top-line metrics that matter to my business most: my payments volume, my revenue, my margin, or my take rate. But even better, I can see how those numbers break down among my users. So for example, amongst the thousands of my accounts, I can immediately see that BB Wellness Group might be having some issues. Now, I could also dig deeper into any of these insights by clicking into the graphs. So for example, I can open up the margin graph to see exactly what products are driving my margin, or slice it by payment method or country instead. Now, I recently enabled instant payouts, and it looks like my users have been really excited to adopt it. It's growing super fast. And interestingly enough, it looks like Stripe has noticed that too. Stripe is telling me here that 9% of my users are already using instant payouts, but close to 30% are highly likely to find instant payouts valuable and adopt it. Stripe is pinpointing opportunities like this one by using an AI model that compares the businesses on your platforms to the millions of others across Stripe. That's pretty cool. We can do this for other Stripe products too, like Capital. The new platform dashboard also proactively surfaces information that I might need to run my business. So for example, I can quickly see which accounts might be restricted soon, or see how my support cases are trending overall. And if I want to dive deeper, I can just click, and it looks like Core Yoga is running into an unusually high number of cases, so I can obviously open up a filtered view, and I can even directly email Stripe support about any individual issue on their behalf.
Thanks, Bharat. So that's how we're helping platforms scale smarter. Now let's talk about how we help them scale more safely. We've consistently heard that merchant fraud can be a real drain on your revenue. And to help, we're launching an all-new version of Stripe Radar built just for platforms. We've taken the same AI capabilities we use to block fraudulent transactions and applied them to blocking fraudulent businesses. Radar now flags suspicious accounts caught on the Stripe network and lets platforms block them from transacting. Platforms can also write custom rules to spot anomalies like payment or dispute spikes. And just this year alone, Radar for Platforms has helped block over 500,000 bad actors from transacting on platforms like Shopify, FreshBooks, and Mindbody. Another area where we can help platforms cut costs is subscriptions. Many of you use Stripe Billing to collect subscriptions for your software. But every time you charge your customers, they pay with a card, and you get stuck with the card fees. Well, that seems rather unnecessary when the customer already uses Stripe for payments and holds a balance on Stripe. So starting today, your customers will be able to pay their subscription fee directly from their Stripe balances. When money moves within Stripe, the transactions settle instantly and cost a lot less. Kajabi, a leading creator commerce platform, is already using this feature, and they're able to save up to 66% in transaction costs. So we've seen you a few important ways Stripe can support platform operations. But what about helping platforms add new revenue lines? We've been making significant investments to Stripe Capital and Stripe Issuing, part of our bench of embedded finance products. And what we are seeing is that by embedding financial services, platforms on Stripe observe their payment volume grow faster and their customers churn at a lower rate. So let's take a look at lending. Squarespace, Jobber, Housecall Pro, and Gloss Genius all use Stripe Capital to give users access to fast, flexible financing. But here's the thing. Many businesses only accept payments in checks, or they run some of their business off Stripe, which means that users who should qualify for financing aren't getting offers. So we're changing that. Starting today, Capital lets platforms integrate their own data into Stripe's underwriting. We've worked with Jobber to expand their program, and as a result, they've more than doubled the number of plumbers, landscapers, and other home service professionals eligible for financing. But embedded finance doesn't only serve platforms. It's critical for many types of businesses, like fintechs and marketplaces. Stripe Issuing has helped companies like Navan, Instacart, and Affirm to issue and manage over 275 million cards worldwide. We're seeing some pretty innovative use cases, too. Perplexity is using Stripe to create virtual cards so that AI agents can buy stuff on your behalf. But many of you have asked us to support consumer cards. Retailers want to be able to give rewards to their customers, creator platforms want to offer credit to the artists, and fintechs want to expand their offerings to consumers. So today, I'm very excited to announce that you can now build a fully managed consumer credit program on Stripe. Yeah, we're very excited about this too. We're doing this in partnership with MasterCard and Visa. Rocket will use Stripe Issuing to launch Rocket Cards, a loyalty card program for homeowners. They'll use signals from Stripe's merchant network and Stripe's consumer network link to quickly spot potential fraud and safeguard against unauthorized spending. So we have covered a lot. And to recap, we're making onboarding faster than ever. We're launching a new command center for platform in the Stripe dashboard. We're launching Radar for platforms and Pay with Stripe Balance to keep your costs down. Within our embedded finance product, we are opening up Capital to be processor agnostic. We're launching fully managed consumer issuing. And hopefully you can tell, we're obsessed with helping you succeed and grow. So here's Sania to share some new ways you can leverage the Stripe network.
Thanks, Neethika. Stripe is a network of millions of businesses moving over 50,000 transactions every minute. And just by being part of the Stripe network, you're already seeing the benefits. Our network spots fraud before it ever reaches you. It boosts your checkout conversion, thanks to Link. And for platforms, we just heard how fast networked onboarding is. Every business, every customer, every transaction makes the network stronger. Now, until now, the network has been quietly working in the background, but it's been invisible to you. Well, that changes today. We're making Stripe a business-to-business network in a more explicit way than ever before. Today, we're announcing Stripe Profiles, your public identity on the Stripe network. It's how your business shows up to every other business on Stripe. And the first thing it unlocks, an easier way for you to transact with each other. Now, in the last year alone, businesses on Stripe paid other businesses on Stripe hundreds of millions of times. And each time you had to manually track down payment details, create an invoice, and wait days for funds to settle. Not exactly frictionless. So today, we're making it dramatically easier for you to pay and get paid with each other using your Stripe profile. Bharath will show us how.
For this demo, I'll play the role of Cursor, a Stripe user, sending an invoice to one of its customers, Vercel, also on Stripe. So here I am on the invoices page, and when I start searching for customers, I see something interesting. Vercel has a Stripe profile. And once I select them, watch what happens. Vercel's billing address, their email, their phone number, it's all there. No chasing down information, no errors that delay payment, all thanks to their Stripe profile. Now, let's go ahead and add an item to their invoice. So we'll go ahead and pick this one, hit enter, and now stay with me because this is the fastest demo you're going to see today. All I have to do is send invoice, easy for me, and that's it. Cursor just invoiced Vercel in a few seconds. But here's what else is new. Cursor can also let Vercel pay with their Stripe balance, making the payment both instant and cheaper for Cursor since the money stays within the Stripe network. And because it's cheaper, Cursor can even offer Vercel an incentive to pay with their Stripe balance.
Well, let me jump in here, Bharath. OK, so let's see what this looks like for Vercel when they receive that invoice from Cursor. They get an email with a link. They click on that link to the hosted invoice page. And because their payment methods are already saved to their Stripe profile, their experience is seamless. They can just choose to pay with their Stripe balance, click pay, and that's it.
That's it. That was just a few seconds for Cursor to send the invoice and a few seconds for Vercel to pay it.
Now, what we just showed you is not just a better invoicing experience, though it is. This is just the first application of Stripe profiles. And they launched this summer. But for all of you here at Sessions, you'll be able to reserve your Stripe profile today. Look out for a push notification after the keynote. Now, you might have noticed a little Easter egg in the demo. Vercel was Stripe verified, which is a new credential for an accredited business in the Stripe network. With thousands of new businesses joining the Stripe network each week, Stripe Verified will give you the confidence to transact with each other. But it does more than build trust. Fast-growing startups tell us that managing risk and compliance requirements is a major burden, especially as they enter new markets or launch a new product. For Stripe Verified businesses, we'll continuously monitor for new requirements, proactively flag, or even resolve them for you, and offer white glove support to help you stay compliant. So you can focus on building, knowing other businesses can trust you too. The Stripe is a network of some of the most ambitious businesses in the world, all of you. Our job is simple, to help you get more out of the network that you've helped build. Now to share what's next, here's Will.
All right, so we've talked about all the progress across payments, revenue, and Connect, and now we're leveraging the scale of the Stripe network across all of these. So I mentioned at the beginning of this keynote, we have something foundational we're excited to show you. And over the years, there have been a lot of tweets like this. You want to be able to oversee your funds, manage liquidity, optimize FX, pay out your vendors, issue cards, all from the Stripe dashboard. So how should managing money work for modern internet-first businesses? Well, the answer certainly shouldn't involve as many phone calls and PDFs and trips to the bank as it does today. No, it's clear that managing money should have a lot of the same attributes that the best software does. You know, it should be fast. Money should move at the speed of bits. It should be affordable, if not downright cheap, especially converting between currencies. It should be borderless, not wildly different depending on which country you sit in. Bank accounts usually are denominated in a particular currency, but why shouldn't they be able to hold a ton of currencies at once? It should be permissionless, available to any legit business. And of course, my favorite, money should be programmable. You should be able to manipulate it with code. So when you boil it all down, money is just data. And this is how data usually works. And in fact, it's how stablecoins work. But as you all know way too well, unfortunately, it's not how the rest of the financial system works. Well, hold on to your hats, folks, because the winds of financial change are gusting. We have one last set of massive announcements for you. Today, we're taking a first enormous step in making money finally work the way that we all know it should. We're launching a new dimension of our product suite, money management. Let's take a look.
Now, this is the demo I've been waiting for. I'm excited to welcome everyone to your new financial home. Now let's take a second here, because it looks very different from the Stripe balances page that you're used to. And historically, you've had to piece together a view of your own businesses across a number of different apps. And you've had to separately manage all the various functions, payments, payouts, card issuing, and so forth. Now with Stripe, you'll finally have everything in one place. You'll see, for example, the funds that you're collecting from conferred payments. They land in your stored balances. You'll see activity information, your saved cards, and much, much more. But let's jump straight into the biggest change that we are making. We've long heard that managing multiple currencies is one of the most difficult things about running a global business. So I'm excited to announce that all Stripe balances will be multi-currency by default. You can see here, for example, that I'm holding dollars, pounds, euros, and yes, even stable coins too. We're starting with these 4 currencies, and you'll get access to 14 more over the course of the next year. Now, your money getting stored in the currency in which it's received is also great because it means you'll only be charged conversion fees if you move money between currencies. And we'll also give you access to local rails. So UK businesses, for example, will be able to send you money just like they send money to any other UK business. Same with the US, same with France, and so on and so forth. There are also some real benefits to managing your payments and your finances side by side. For example, when you need extra liquidity. Now, you could get a cash advance from your bank, but that would take days for the money to land, and you'd then have to pay interest on it. But since Stripe processes your payments, you'll be able to get instant access to your funds with just a click. You just enter how much you want, and hit the button, and the money immediately moves over. Now, yeah. There's a lot here. We also know that opening new bank accounts is particularly onerous. But now we can just hit the plus button and add a new account for your marketing team. That's it. Now, this is not just a new box. It's an entirely new financial account. And I'm able to move money between those accounts and between currencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and transfer some money to my marketing account in pounds, hit an amount, and go ahead, and that looks like it landed immediately as 37,000 pounds. Marketing teams always have the best budgets. Now, of course, the marketing team needs to now be able to spend their newfound 37,000 pounds, so I can give them local cards right from this same page. I go ahead and add a new card, and I can set a card holder. And notice that since I'm issuing this card to a UK employee, it'll automatically spend against my new pounds balance. Hit create card, done.
Now, one thing that's very important to emphasize here is the architecture. So for moving money in and out of Stripe, you've got these local rails attached to each one of those financial accounts. And for moving money on Stripe, you have our new global liquidity platform. And this makes swapping between balances and currencies instantaneous and cheap. OK, but that's all about managing your own funds. What about transacting with third parties? Well, for that, we built global payouts.
Now, normally, paying someone involves collecting and storing their bank account details, which, look, I don't want to do, you don't want to do. It's manual, it's prone to error. But you'll notice that I've got a bunch of actions I can take right from the top bar here. And one of them is sending a payout. I can go ahead and easily send a payout to another business on Stripe, just like you saw earlier in the keynote. But I'm also able to send a one-time payout to basically anyone in the world with just an email. So for example, if I wanted to send a customer reward, let's go ahead and enter just a random email address of some Stripe employee, add an amount. I can add a memo. Great job demoing. And your recipient will get an email that looks a lot like this. And if they already have their bank account details stored with Link, they'll be able to receive the money in just a few clicks. I'll go ahead and hit send. And that's it. Now, if you wanted to send payouts to a larger group of people, you can simply upload a CSV with all the details. I can go ahead and browse. Let's add one right now. And it looks like that includes the total amount, the recipients, and their emails. Go ahead and hit next. And I could even schedule that to send later. But don't worry, well, I won't send $30,000 to 7,000 people right now. I'll click. Now, we can't end this keynote without doing what we promised we would do, making everything across Stripe programmable. So yep, you guessed it, workflows. We're giving you yet another workflow builder, just like you saw earlier with payments orchestration and billing. This one, for example, lets you set and configure minimum balances for specific accounts. And this is important because your finance teams will finally be able to manage your funds flows with as much precision as they want.
Thank you so much, Bharath. So we just showed you a bunch of new capabilities, and many of these are already in users' hands today. And over the course of 2025, we'll roll all of them out to Stripe users in the US, UK, and Europe, and APAC next year. So stay tuned. And importantly, I'd be remiss not to emphasize that all of it, is coming to Connect this fall. And that'll be a game changer in embedded finance for platforms, marketplaces, and fintechs. Now, Bharath also just showed us that you can hold stablecoin balances. And earlier this year, we acquired a company called Bridge with the goal of enabling global money management with stablecoins. Today, we're taking a very big step on that front. Until this morning, users could only create Stripe accounts in 50 countries, only 50 countries. With Bridge's help, we're making Stripe available in 101 more. It's a big deal. Entrepreneurs and businesses in those 101 countries will be able to operate entirely on dollar-denominated balances. So much of the world is subject to unstable currencies and unreliable financial infrastructure, and it caps the GDP of the internet. But now, these users in Argentina, Vietnam, Zambia, and everywhere in between can hold a balance in stablecoins, receive and send funds on both crypto and fiat rails, and send stablecoins anywhere all over the world. We'll start by supporting USDC and USDB, Bridge's own stablecoin, and we'll add more over time. So stablecoins are incredibly powerful in their own right. But the even bigger opportunity, the true alchemy, comes from bringing crypto and fiat together, marrying them so deeply that the distinction becomes almost meaningless. So how do we do that? Well, one massive leverage point is cards. They're a near universal payment instrument accepted by hundreds of millions of businesses worldwide. So we're incredibly excited to share that we're partnering with Visa and Lead Bank to launch the first ever global card issuing product. It takes an ecosystem, as you can see here, but the end result is that with a single integration, developers can now issue a Visa card that spends down a stablecoin balance, and they can do so for cardholders in dozens of countries at once. So we have an extremely exciting list of launch partners, including crypto-native companies like AirTM and Squads. And I'm very excited to announce that Ramp, already a Stripe issuing user, will be using stablecoin cards to supercharge their geographic expansion. So let's take a look at what these new cards can unlock for the global economy.
There's very few innovations quite like stablecoins that have this much potential.
GigBank offers virtual accounts and virtual cards to help people spend and earn in foreign currency while living in Nigeria.
Bridge's APIs enable businesses to move funds between fiat and stablecoins. Stablecoins are really important financial infrastructure, but they need to be integrated into today's financial ecosystem.
In Nigeria, most individuals can't use their local bank cards to shop on global websites. We're now working with Bridge to be one of the first companies in Africa that they offer stablecoin-backed virtual cards with. A freelancer in Nigeria can upskill themselves on Upwork, a business owner can pay for their Google Cloud credits, and an importer-exporter can order from Alibaba.
Stablecoin-backed cards will allow Ramp to expand globally. We can issue cards in local markets we could never serve before.
You're able to build an application that stores and takes advantage of stablecoins, but transactions settle in Mexican pesos or Brazilian reais or whatever other currency your vendor wants.
I really believe 2025 is the year of stablecoin going mainstream.
So we're incredibly excited to put stablecoins to work for all of you. And that's our brand new money management suite. It includes multi-currency balances with instant FX, global payouts, stablecoin financial accounts in 101 additional countries, and global issuing via stablecoins. Now, we covered a lot today across payments, revenue, Connect, and now our new money management suite. But believe it or not, there's even more we didn't have time for. You can find the full list of everything that's new posted on our blog later today. And across all of these, we're helping you grow by putting AI and stablecoins to work, by leveraging the scale of the Stripe network, by transforming Stripe into an extensible and programmable platform. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Sessions. I hope you all leave with a bunch of specific ideas for how you can make good use of Stripe's programmable financial services. The Stripe community, all of you here, is remarkable in so many ways. As we wrote in our last annual letter, your revenue on Stripe is growing 7 times faster than the S&P 500. 7 times faster. Well, we're all at the cusp of a generational shift in business and technology, and you can feel it. And the next decade of global economic growth will be shaped disproportionately by what each of you does and by what we can do together. Thank you so much, and enjoy Sessions.
Best. You can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You can talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. Yeah. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. That